welcome to 252 Kids. This is the place where kids come to learn about life apps. Life apps are part of God's character that He uses inside of us to change the world around us. And this month, we've been going over a really great life app. And it's not just important for kids, it's important for parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and even your cousins. Are you guys ready to say it with me? Okay, let's... Oh boy. Where is he? He's coming.
Thank you, everyone. It has been a long and trying year for us all. With all the tests and lunches, recesses, the homework, the lunches, the recesses, the Zoom meetings, the lunches, the all-day recesses, the nap times, the second and third recesses of the day.
Walter, what are you doing?
Giving a commencement speech. What does it look like?
But you're not graduating from anything.
Why does everyone keep saying that?
Because you're not.
What about 5th grade?
Okay, that was a long time ago.
So I do this every year.
Every year?
Yeah, every year I get my gown, and I get my cap, and I go to a school, and I get up on stage, and I grab a diploma, and I shake the principal's hand like this. And then they're like, who are you? And I'm like, thank you for all your hard work, and I celebrate everybody else's hard work.
But it's not your hard work.
Well, it was just a long time ago.
Okay, this is, what's the word?
Brilliant. Awesome.
Creepy.
Come
And
on.
it still doesn't explain why you're doing this here.
Because I ran out of schools.
What?
I ran out of schools, okay? Like, all the local schools, they recognize me now, and they're like, hey, that's the guy who ruins our ceremony and steals our diplomas. We got to get him out of here. If he doesn't leave, we're going to call the police. So, here I am.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Okay, Walter, look. Graduating from 5th grade is a big deal.
Thank you.
Right, guys? But it's not the biggest deal.
It's not. Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. It's preparing you for other things, for the rest of your life. And you know what? Our life app goes right along with that.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay, where's the life app?
We have to reveal it. We have to,
Oh! Can I do that?
Sure.
I'm going to do that.
Okay.
I don't know how to do that.
Oh my goodness, how did you get through 5th grade?
That's hurtful.
Dude, we do drum roll on our legs.
You sure it's a drum roll?
Yes.
That doesn't sound right.
Walter, we do this every week.
Okay. Well, let's stick with the expert over here, little miss. Oh, yeah, 5th grade, no big deal. Drum roll. All right, here we go. 1,
No.
2, what?
We count down.
Oh, that's right. Okay, sorry. 99.
No.
99.
We count down from 3.
3, 2, 1. Contentment. Deciding to be happy with what you've got.
Okay, guys, we're going to say this one more time in honor of our 5th grade graduates.
That's a good idea.
Because they're going to be going to youth group soon. Are you guys ready?
Oh, youth are
Say it
weird.
really loud. Contentment.
Deciding to be happy with what you've got. That's easier for you to say, but this is like all I've got. 5th grade graduation. I mean, come on. The rest of my life is just fraught with disappointments.
Walter, you've accomplished other things.
Oh, okay. Yeah, name like one.
Well, you made it through 6th grade, right?
But I didn't have a ceremony with it. Name 2.
Okay, somewhere along the way you got a driver's license.
I did do that somehow.
Right? And don't forget, you made it through Algebra 2. That's hard.
Made it through what now?
But you made it through Algebra 1. That's hard.
To who now?
Okay, you made it through math.
Math! I know math! I did the maths. I did math. Yes.
See?
I did.
And you know what else? Every week you come and help us take what's the most important parts of families and the most important parts of church and put it together here at 252 Kids.
I do that, don't I?
Okay, but you know what, Walter? What I don't understand is why 5th grade graduation? I mean, why not high school graduation?
Why not what now?
You know, the big commencement ceremony at the end of 12th grade?
12th grade? What? There's 12 of these things? Do you guys know about this? 12?
Yeah, okay, guys, I think maybe I need to take Walter home.
It took me 16 years to get through the first 5!
Okay, Walter, it's okay.
Does my mama know?
Yeah.
I gotta call my mama.
Yeah, let's go call your mama. Bye, guys.
12 grades? Are they insane?
Dear God, it happens every Wednesday. Between school, tennis, dance, and club meetings, we are in the car forever. Mom plays our favorite songs. Today, we were having a good time when we went to the drive-thru. We always order the same thing. Doug gets nuggets, Mom gets a chicken sandwich, I always get a cheeseburger with cheese only. Nothing else. We were back on the way to tennis practice before I found out they put mustard on my sandwich. It was ruined, and I was starving. Mom offered to give me her sandwich. She said a quick prayer at the stoplight, and then she started to eat my mustard burger. But she hates mustard too. When she started the music again, I remember what Mom always says. You can be happy with whatever you have when you learn it's all from God. God, help me to remember that I can be happy no matter what happens. Even mustard. Leslie.
Past due, final notice. Oh, hi. Sorry, I'm Caitlin, and it's my least favorite part of the day, mail time. All I get anymore is bills, and it's not that I can't pay them, I'm just not very organized, so I can never remember which ones are due when. I mean, who has time to pay bills when they're inventing machines that could possibly change the world? Not me. What I wouldn't give to be a kid again when I had no bills and no problems whatsoever. But you know what? Even at mail time, it's possible to show contentment. Contentment is deciding to be happy with what you've got. And what I've got is a better than average intelligence. So I invented this, the Rejuvenator. The Rejuvenator is going to take me back to a time before I had bills, a time when there was a ton of stuff to be content about. Rejuvenator, make me a teenager. Get out! It totally works. I'm a teenager, so no more grown-up problems. Will you just look at how young I am? Is that a pimple? Ew! There's more over here. Grody. I totally forgot about this part of being a teenager. Okay, Rejuvenator, take me back to before pimples. Candy. I love candy. This is the best age ever. I get to go to school and play on the playground, and when I'm good, Mom and Dad give me candy. I just hope that mean girl Harriet doesn't take it from me like last time. The big bully. I should go back before bullies. Too far back. Too far. This thing is dangerous. I thought it would be better if things were like they used to be. Now I'm not so sure. In today's story, the Israelites have a similar problem. Whew. I'm just glad I got out of there before I, well, you know, made a boom boom. Grody.
"252 Movie presents We Can't Get No Satisfaction, based on the true story of the Israelites longing for Egypt while they wandered the desert. Action!
All right, rock and roll. Hey gang, I'm Xander Summerstone and this is my show called Glory Days. Glory Days. You know what I miss? Real music. They just don't make it like they used to. Now everything's all auto-tuned. I am a robot. No man, that's gnarly. We need the real thing like, oh yeah, that's real. All right. Now, my first guest wishes that it was the good old days too, but her good old days were way back in the roaring 20s. Come on out, Gertie! Ho!
Oh!
Oh, all right. Oh, I thought you were gonna. All right, there you are. Hello, have a seat. All right, okay. So, how you doing? Totally good to have you here.
Oh, and how? This is the cat's pajamas.
What?
Oh, you know the cat's meow, the bee's knees.
Oh, you mean like cool beans?
What?
Anyway, so what's up with this getup that you're wearing now?
Oh, this old thing? Spiffy, ain't it? They really knew how to dress in the 1920s. Boy, what I wouldn't give to live back then. The clothes, the dancing, the music. Oh!
Bad to the bone.
Dog.
What? My next guest has been wandering in the desert for a real long time, so come on out, Israelite! Huh, huh, he, huh. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, wicked good to have you here, man. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Here we go. So, what's all this about wandering in the desert? Sounds awesome.
It does?
Psych! Sounds totally awful.
It is. It's hot, it's dry, and good luck trying to find anything good to eat.
Oh, jeepers, that sounds rotten.
Well, yes, it is. You know, I used to live in Egypt, and see, that was the place to be. Oh my goodness, we were surrounded by pots of meat. We can eat whatever we wanted. And water. Boy, do I miss being near water. If I could just go back to Egypt, I think I would drink up the entire Nile River.
You go down to the river and you drink until the river ran dry. I hear you, dude. Hey, all of the food nowadays, it's so different than the food back then. Nowadays, it's all fat-free, sugar-free, gluten-free. What I wouldn't give for a big old bowl of gluten right now.
Ooh, while you're at it, order me up a sinker and a cup of joe.
Are you guys speaking the same language?
So, if you liked Egypt so much, why'd you leave?
Well, our leader, this guy named Moses, he convinces that it's what God wanted us to do, that he would lead us to the promised land, and the land flowing with milk and honey. So we left our comfortable homes and our comfortable beds for the desert. You know what we use for beds in the desert?
What?
Sand.
That's totally
Phony
bogus. What? All right, we've got one more guest on this show. I think that you know this guy. Please welcome Moses. All right. Hey, nice to see you. I like this thing.
Oh, thank you.
So, anyway, what is all this I hear about you making these poor people wander around in the desert, leaving their homes? Huh?
You told him you were comfortable in Egypt, huh?
Yeah, it was okay.
Mm-hmm. Did he also tell you that when we were in Egypt, we were slaves to the Egyptians?
He did not mention that.
Oh, news to me.
God's people have been crying out for hundreds of years for someone to come and rescue them from the hands of the Egyptians, and when he finally does it, all his people can do is complain about it.
Yeah, I mean, I know we were slaves and all,
We worked all day,
And we were forced to work. all day.
making bricks and building pyramids.
I know, but at least we weren't starving to death.
Oh, hey, he's got a point there, Moses. What good does it do to have freedom if it just means you're gonna die from hunger? 'Cause everybody's got a hungry heart. You get me?
Look, God led us through the Red Sea. Not around it, not over it, right through it. We saw the walls of water part before our very eyes. He led us by a huge pillar of cloud by day and a ball of fire by night. Do you really think he's going to lead us that far and not provide for us? Of course he's going to give us something to eat.
So wait, so you do have food?
Well, yeah, I mean, sort of. There's this bread that shows up every morning on the ground.
What you talking about, Israelite?
Yeah, you on the level.
Yeah, it's this bread stuff. It tastes like honey, but it doesn't keep. If you try to store it for a few days, it just starts to stink.
The Lord gives you just as much as you need for every day, and twice as much at week's end, so you don't have to work on the Sabbath.
So this bread just shows up out of nowhere in the middle of the desert every single day.
And in the evenings, he gives his people quail to eat.
Dude, that's a miracle.
You can say that again.
I'm going to. That's a miracle.
I know, but still, in Egypt, man, we had water, lots of it. We weren't dying of thirst.
It's a good point, Moses. Water, it's essential. Better yet, what about a 2-liter of Jolt Cola? That'd keep the people moving all the way to the promised land.
Have you really forgotten how the Lord has provided for you? The people came to me and my brother Aaron because they were thirsty, and they wanted us to do something about it, as if we were the ones in charge. So, I begged God to provide, and he did.
Hey, is that true?
Well, there was this one time when Moses went up to this big rock and hit it with a big stick, and water just started to pour out.
Horse feather.
That's what happened.
God made water come out of a rock.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen every day.
Well, I mean, I guess not.
What do you mean you guess not? That's another miracle. Come on, man. You obviously have God leading you. Why would you want to go back to your life as a slave? You were born down in an Egypt land, but now you're going to the promised land now. You know what you're doing? You're looking to the past so much you don't even realize what you have right in front of your eyes. Yeah? Anyway, if I were you, I'd stop looking back to Egypt and look ahead, because you might miss a miracle right in front of your face.
Exactly what I've been trying to say.
Okay, I'll try.
Attaboy.
Rock and roll, all right. Now, hey, I hope that you guys get to the promised land soon, all right?
Yeah, and I mean, hopefully it's not gonna be for too long now, right?
Anyway, I think that we're going to go ahead and call it quits on this episode of Glory Days. I want to thank Moses and the Israelite, and of course, Gertie for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you. It was the butterflies boots.
What?
Totally awesome.
Now you're speaking my language. How about you take us out? Old school.
Oh, you betcha!
Yeah.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on 252 Kids Online. I'm so excited that we are all together and we can keep talking about our life apps. This is the time of the morning where we open up God's Word and we see exactly what God wants us to learn today. This whole month, we are talking about the life app of contentment. Let's all say it together. Even you at home, say it out loud with me. 3, 2, 1. Contentment. Deciding to be happy with what you've got. And let's face it, it is really hard to be content. There's just something inside of us that just continuously wants more and more things. And we think that more is better. But really, a lot of times, less is actually more. See, when we have more, we begin to focus on things that we shouldn't. And oftentimes we focus on getting more of the things that we already have. And we find ourselves where we're just not happy and content. We're always wanting something else. We're always wanting something new, something better. And it can just make us miserable. It can also take our focus off of what it needs to be, off of God. And we begin to focus on toys and games and clothes and candy and just stuff we really don't need to focus on. And really, we just need to focus on the fact that God is going to provide for us. He's going to meet all of our needs, and we can trust Him no matter what. So, here's the deal. If you find yourself where you begin to complain a lot, or maybe you just, over the last few days, you've just been complaining, and your mom and dad are saying, you sure are complaining a lot. That is a sign that you are not content. And that you are not focusing on God, but you are focusing on things that you don't have. So today we're going to talk about a group of people, and you know them well, who they had trouble focusing on God. And they could only focus on things that they didn't have. And maybe things the way they used to be in their past that they thought were better. And they just complained. No matter what God did, no matter how God provided for them, they continue to complain. And this group of people were the Israelites, the same group of people that Moses went into Egypt and God miraculously set them free through the 10 plagues in Egypt. And He parted the Red Sea and all these amazing miracles to set Israel free from Egypt out of slavery. We find them in the middle of the desert on their way to the promised land, complaining and complaining and complaining. In fact, they kept complaining so much so that Moses began to think, you know what? I think they might kill me if I don't do something about this. The problem was that they believed they had more food and more water to drink and were better off as slaves in Egypt. In fact, they believed that there was a large group of them believed that they should go back to Egypt and that they would have a better life than what God had promised them in the future. But they couldn't get past their current circumstances that they're in to see that God was leading them to the promised land that was what He called a land flowing with milk and honey and was going to be great. But all they could focus on was what they did not have and what they had as slaves in the past, and began to think maybe we should go back. So this is the situation we find. They're in the middle of the desert. And this story is found in Exodus chapter 16. And Exodus chapter 16, they had left Egypt. They're in the middle of the desert. And it says, the entire Israelite community grumbled against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. The Israelites said to them, if only we had died in the Lord's hand in the land of Egypt when we sat by pots of meat and ate all the bread we wanted. Instead, you brought us into this wilderness to make this whole assembly die of hunger. So here's the complaining. They're like, oh, we were better off as slaves in Egypt, and you brought us out in the desert to die. Then the Lord said to Moses, I'm going to rain bread from heaven for you. The people are to go out each day and gather enough for that day. This way I will test them to see whether or not they will follow my instructions. On the 6th day, when they prepare what they were bringing in, it will be twice as much as they gather on the other days. All right, so God says to Moses, all right, Moses, this is what we're going to do. Every morning when they wake up, I'm going to rain bread down from heaven. All right, so they don't have to go and plant seeds and grow food and do all this stuff. They don't have to work for it. They just walk out of their tents, look around on the ground, pick it up, bring it back to their tents, and then eat on it all day long. And so God says, this is what I'm going to do. So Moses and Aaron, they gathered the whole community together. And Aaron was the spokesperson, and Moses would tell him what to say. And so Moses tells Aaron, all right, tell them this is what the Lord God says He's going to do, and this is what's going to happen. So as Aaron begins to speak, the entire Israelite community, they turned toward the wilderness, and there in a cloud, the Lord's glory appeared. So the whole Israelite community is gathered together. Moses is telling them through Aaron exactly what the Lord said he's going to do. And all of a sudden, out in the wilderness, this cloud appears, and it's the glory of the Lord. I can't imagine what it must have been like to see the glory of the Lord in a cloud appearing in the middle of the desert. The Lord spoke to Moses, I have heard the complaints of the Israelites. Tell them, at twilight you will eat meat, and in the morning you will eat bread until you are full. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God. So at the evening quail came and covered the camp. In the morning there was a layer of dew all around the camp. When the layer of dew evaporated, there were fine flakes on the desert surface, as fine as frost on the ground. When the Israelites saw it, they asked one another, what is it? Because they did not know what it is. Moses told them, it is the bread the Lord has given you to eat. This is what the Lord has commanded. Gather as much of it as each person needs to eat. You may take 2 quarts per individual, according to the number of people each of you have in his tent. So the Israelites did this. Some gathered a lot, some little. When they measured it by quarts, the person who gathered a lot had no surplus, and the person who gathered a little had no shortage. Each gathered as much as he needed. Moses said to them, no one is to let any of it remain until the morning. But they didn't listen to Moses. Some people left part of it until the morning, and it bred worms and stank. Therefore Moses was angry with them. They gathered it every morning. Each gathered as much as he needed, but when the sun grew hot, it melted. So, basically, this is what happened. So God heard their complaints, and he rains down bread from heaven. So they wake up in the morning. The dew is on the ground. You know how dew, it's a little wet in the morning. When the dew would evaporate, there would be these white flakes. All right, they're kind of, and they were sweet. So I kind of think they were like Frosted Flakes. Have y'all ever had Frosted Flakes? You know, it's got Tony the Tiger on the front of the box. Frosted Flakes, but maybe a little bit bigger. Tiny flakes, these thinned flakes were on the ground, and they would just get as much as they needed for their whole family, everybody living in their tent, and they would eat until they were full. Then at night, at twilight, y'all know what twilight is? That's when the sun begins to go down. It says quail would fall down from the sky. So they would have meat in the evening and bread in the morning. And this happened day after day after day. And the Lord provided for them as they were wandering to the desert on their way to a promised land, which God had promised for them. So you would think this would be amazing. This would wow them. They would be happy now. They would be perfectly content. And they would worship the one true God. Oh, no. They were not done complaining yet. Chapter 17 says this. The entire Israelite community left the wilderness of sin, moving from one place to the next according to the Lord's commands. They camped at Rephidim, but there was no water for the people to drink. So the people complained to Moses, "Give us water to drink." "Why are you complaining to me?" Moses replied to them. "Why are you testing the Lord?" But the people thirsted for the water and grumbled against Moses. They said, "Why did you ever bring us up from Egypt to kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst?" Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Then Moses cried out to the Lord, "What should I do with these people? In a little while they will stone me." The Lord answered Moses, "Go on ahead of the people and take some of the elders of Israel with you. Take the staff you struck the Nile with in your hand and go. I'm going to stand there in front of you on the rock of Horeb. When you hit the rock, water will come out of it, and the people will drink." Moses did this in the sight of the elders of Israel. All right, so now they're thirsty. They don't have anything to drink. They're not waiting on God. They're complaining. They see all the things that they don't have, and they look back at the past and all the things that they used to have, and they are complaining again. They want to go back to Egypt. We had a better life as a slave there, not trusting that God would meet their need. And so Again, God says, okay, I've heard your complaints. Moses, I want you to go to the Nile. You're going to strike this rock. Water's going to come out. And he did just that and provided water for them yet again. But if you keep reading, they never really were ever satisfied. They always wanted more and more and more. And God continued to do more and more miracles. But yet they could not stop and focus on the one true God. So here's our bottom line for today. When you focus on what you used to have, you can miss what you have now. When you focus on what you used to have, you can miss what you have now. God was performing amazing miracles right in front of them, but they could not stop to see what God was doing because they were focused on what life was like in Egypt and demanded that they have that lifestyle now. But they didn't realize what God had planned for them was a whole lot better than what they had in Egypt once they got to the promised land. If only they would focus on God and trust Him. So that is my prayer today for you and for me, is that we would focus on God and we would not focus on the past, but we would focus on right now what God wants to do right now.
Well, I got to be in a parade, but it didn't turn out the way I wanted. There I was riding on a float down Main Street. Everyone in town was there throwing streamers and confetti, chanting my name. Except it wasn't my name, it was Catherine's. And it made me realize that the parade wasn't for me. It was for my sister. She's the one they were cheering for, and now she missed it because of me. And that's the thing about wanting something you don't have. If you focus on what you want too much, it can eat at you. It makes you think things you normally wouldn't think and do things you normally wouldn't do. It made King Ahab and Jezebel do something they can never take back. The next time you want what you don't have, it could be something like a video game or a new phone, or it could be some situation. Like you want to make the gymnastics team or you want to be in the school musical. Next time you want something, don't focus so hard on what you want. Focus on God and what He wants. Then, even if things don't go your way, you can still be content. Here's the one thing to remember today. When you focus on what you don't have, it can make you miserable. I think I'm gonna feel miserable until I switch back with my sister. Where is she anyway? I raided your fridge. Hope that's okay. Sure. Listen, Kath, I'm sorry I went to the parade and took your moment. I shouldn't have. And you know, I'm okay with being the smart girl and you being, the sporty one. It's cool. But next time you want to trade places, you can just wear my clothes. We're twins, smart girl. Okay. Here. Put this on. Okay.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching with us, 252 Kids Online today. And I just want you to take a moment, go to the Church Center app, go to the check-ins tab. There is a 252 Kids Online place where you can click on that and you can check in and let us know that you watched this video today. Check in the whole family, everybody that watched with us, so we can know who all's watching and gathering with us online. Thank you so much. Attached with this video is a link. I also sent out an email that has a discussion guide for parents and kids to continue talking about contentment once this video is over. Kids, I sent out an email to your parents, and also in this link is your God time card. Make sure you print that off and spend a few minutes with God every single day. Just a little bit, just a few minutes every single day, and you can continue to learn about contentment. I'm so excited that y'all have joined us online, and I hope you'll join us again next week. Have a great week.
TV screens and magazines always try to sell me things, from bicycles to shiny rings. check out this brand new fan. It's something that you gotta have, the kind of make me wanna laugh. Cause contentment isn't found in possessions. I think they've got the wrong impression. I try to focus my attention on the fact that I'm blessed and everything I've got is all I need. I'm taking steps back to see things differently. Everything I've got is all I need, need, is all I need. Hey, I must admit that sometimes I want what my friends have. It's easy to do that. I try to keep myself from losing sight of where my joy comes from. Cause contentment isn't found in possessions. I think they've got the wrong impression. I try to focus my attention on the fact that I'm blessed and everything I've got is all I need. I'm taking steps back to see things differently. Everything I've got is all I need, need, is all I need. Everything I've got is all I need. I'm taking steps back to see things differently. Everything I've got is all I need, need, is all I need.
Video games and nice clothes. It's easy to let your mind go down the wrong path, wanting what other people have, always wanting more things when old things get boring. But life isn't measured by the things you own or the things you don't. I'ma be good with what I got. I promise you that I am not gonna want what's his, want what's hers. Yo, I'm blessed and that's for sure. Fancy things are cool, I guess, but you don't watch out, you just might miss that there's more to life than the eye can see. Look inside, you got all you need.
Everything I've got is all I need. I'm taking steps back to see things differently. Everything I've got is all I need, need, is all I need. Everything I've got is all I need. I'm taking steps back to see things differently. Everything I've got is all I need, is all I need.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high to bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high to bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Clap along. said, because I'm